Right. I actually took over for Melissa Sladen, and she was here for 2 or 3 years. I think she started at the beginning of the grant, which is a 5-year grant. There's 2 years left, and so I'll be on for the next 2 years. So I really just started in August
Okay.
with the Summer Institute, kind of not knowing, what was going on. In fact, what I'm doing right now is I'm coordinating visits to their classrooms. Part of the institute that they do, and they go 2 summers, is they have to design a lesson based on climate change, environmental science, something within those lines, that they will present to their class, that they'll do with their students. So they've all designed their lessons, and they're going to do those lessons in November. So I'm going to visit the classrooms September, October, and November. I'll try to visit each teacher 3 times. I haven't come across anything like that. That's kind of one of the things on my list to do, is sort of compile those resources, because obviously it's nice to have a connection between science teachers and science researchers in the local area. Now, we are fortunate in that we have the Desert Research Institute. Yeah, it's right up here by the community college, and that's a huge federally funded research institute. I don't know that it's completely 100% federally funded. I mean, on one level it is, because the researchers there, the way they fund their projects is by writing grants. So it's, on one hand, it's federal funds come in for those grants, but the researchers themselves do all the work, so it's sort of like researcher funded in a way as well. And we did a big visit up there. We spent the whole day up there, one of the days for the institute. And I don't know that the teachers necessarily felt that I'm going to make connections with some of these researchers. I mean, because a lot of these people are hardcore scientists. I mean, they're just like into their research, which, on the one hand says I'm not going to have a whole lot of time to work with local teachers. On the other hand, and then on the second thing would be that, they're really not educators. They're really not, bent in that direction too. So it's 2 weeks, so it's 5 days, and it's 8 hours, 8 to 4 every day. And some of the days are kind of in class, focused on education. Like we did some things about science education, like the 5E model, and then the essential principles of science inquiry. So we kind of did some teaching. They did an ice core lab. They did some other activities. We gave them time to work on their presentations, and we did the 4 field trips. So 4 of the 10 days were actually spent in the field. We did Verdi Electric Plant in Chalk Bluff one day. We went up to Lake Tahoe another day, and we went to the Environmental Research Center, the demonstration gardens, and the treatment center up in Incline. And we did the DRI day, and then we did a day exploring up at Pyramid Lake, the whole Lahontan Valley. So those are really great hands-on things, and I don't know that there's a whole lot of resources in the county for teachers to take their kids on field trips anymore, but certainly those are, ideal. Oh, we were talking about one of the student groups did a presentation on we all did presentations on science articles that we read, and one of them was on supernovas, and so the planetarium came up because Reno doesn't have a great night sky. You've got to get out on the outskirts to see stars. But I was just, it just popped into my mind that every student in a school district, especially in a city that has a planetarium, should get to go to the planetarium. Somehow, that should somehow be funded for every student to get to go do that. And then I'm starting to think, well, the biology teachers are going to want their cut. They're going to want, something biology. The trip to the zoo. We don't even have a zoo. That's something I think for younger kids. But I think once kids get to the high school age, they should know the night sky, and they should learn. A lot of them just don't learn east to west. They don't learn the phases of the moon. They don't know what a supernova is. I did some testing so that I would have a quantitative side, and then I did a qualitative side where I interviewed 5 teachers. 2 of them were working teachers. One was a retired teacher, and then I interviewed 2 of the pre-service science teachers who were focusing on environmental science. But the 2 ladies that I interviewed that were actually working in schools really gave me this sense that most of the teachers, most of the good science teachers, are really taking their classes in that direction. You're a little bit limited when you're teaching chemistry, physics, biology, but those teachers can certainly bring a few things in throughout the year. But when you're talking about like a physical earth life science class, like the kind of just get me to graduation science classes, boy, it really makes sense, like you're saying, to bring that in because it's current news, it's current events, it's something that's happening now. It's a little less dry than, just, identifying rock samples. When I was teaching, there was always this sense that I had that you can do whatever you want in your classroom as long as you can implement it and, stay within the standards and have the kids pass their graduate exit exams. But I don't think that the school district is going to fund an environmental science class. Some of the schools have those already, and I think that they have their place in the budget, probably alongside earth science, life science, biology, chemistry, and they're probably allocated a certain amount of funds. I think it'd be very difficult for those teachers to make a case for, give us more money because this is more important. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but I kind of know a little bit about school districts and how those things work. One of the things when I was teaching is they pushed this grant through to have us become a Title I school. I don't know if they have those anymore. I've kind of been out of teaching for 8 years. And this was in Los Angeles as well. And we became a Title I school, and all of a sudden we had $25,000 a year that we could spend in the science department. We bought all kinds of great stuff. We spent money. It was like Christmas. It was nice. But I think those days are kind of in the past. But as far as curriculum goes, I think the teacher's kind of king of the curriculum in the classroom. And if the teacher wants to, like I said, stay within the standards and teach from an environmental standpoint, they can do so. They're not going to be able to get environmental science or climate change books. So they're going to have to kind of bring in a lot of their own materials, probably a lot of their own activity things, which I always did. I mean, I spent a lot of money on, labs and activities that I wanted to do. So I felt like it was important and it had to be done. It was necessary. Because, you get them hooked on, what's going on in the world, what's going on in the country at an early age. That'll carry through to future studies, I think.
Yeah, most definitely.
I think the administrators are sort of under the, umbrella of the district, and then the district is under the state, and I think there's, mandates and regulations and things they can and cannot do. And in order for an administrator to make a school-wide policy that says all of our classes are going to be environmental science classes from now on, that's going to be a really difficult thing to make that happen in any kind of official capacity, which again brings it down all the way to the bottom of the pyramid, so to speak, to the teachers, and the teachers just being interested and actively involved in that. Yeah, I didn't know what you were going to talk to me about because, I haven't really studied climate change. Just, what you read in the news and whatever, so I haven't taken any kind of class on it, formally. So I'm kind of catching up. We got this huge library here, and all of these resources are available. So if you ever want to just kind of come up and, hi.
Hi,